Monday.
You're listening to BBC Radio Scotland with me, Connie McLaughlin. It is 10:05. Thank you so much for all your calls, all your texts on the phone in this morning. It's still to come on the programme, though.
It's murder on the dance floor, but you better not kill the girl.
Soon, very soon, I'm going to be joined by disco queen Sophie Ellis-Bextor. We're going to chat about the incredible revival of her naughty track. You heard it there, Murder on the Dance Floor, and also how she spins the plates of being a mum to 5 kids, trying to manage work and everything else that goes along with just being an adult generally. So I'm looking forward to chatting to her. And where is travel expert Simon Calder today?
I've just arrived at Europe's most exciting airport.
Yes, I'm actually on Westminster Bridge in central London, 30 miles north of Knoxville, Tennessee.
Right, you're going to find out later where exactly he is this morning. 80295, if you've got a question for him, maybe it's some sort of holiday inspo you're looking for, or you want to get some compensation for a holiday that maybe went wrong, this is your opportunity, right? 80295, send him a text. And...
Are you a traitor or are you a faithful?
oh, the Scottish contestant, the last one standing, Evie, joins me to react to Friday's Traitor finale. If you've not watched it up until the end by this point, then I suggest you hurry up and do it after 11. This is your chance, this is your warning, right? Plus...
the emotion, you can see it's swelling up in his heart. You can see the emotion on his face.
Right, Jurgen Klopp's decision to leave Liverpool has left fans devastated. So we're going to talk about these relationships, why we form these, apparently they're called parasocial relationships. Talk more about that, I know exactly what that is in just a second. And egg donation.
Your egg or sperm donation has the power to give the gift of becoming parents to those who need help to conceive.
How does it work, and why has that NHS Scotland ads come under fire from some campaigners?
All the conversations that matter.
Mornings on BBC Radio Scotland.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Right, this is the thing that got us chatting in the office this morning. We were talking about the news about Jurgen Klopp leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. And then it got us thinking about that thing that you can... You know, like if you see someone online, on TV or whatever else, and you have that thing, like, oh, they'd be really nice. I'd love to go for a coffee with them. They seem like a decent person. And you feel as if you know quite a lot about their life. But obviously if you met them, they would know absolutely nothing about you. So you would have that sort of strange... imbalance when it came to the relationship. Apparently that is called a parasocial relationship. It got us thinking, who do you have one with right now, or who would you like to have that relationship with, right? Some in the office this morning were David Tennant, Louis Theroux, Robin Williams, Oprah Winfrey, and Limmy they were all in there as well. Who would yours be? Or who do you have one with? Is there someone that you're like, oh, really, I think that person and I would get on really well? Like Kevin Bridges, you hear that? Kevin Bridges, I think, would probably be one of those people that you think you could probably go for a pint with or a drink with or a coffee with or whatever, and you would have a laugh. But actually, that person might be a little bit like, this is weird, this is a total stranger. So let me know what you think about that. 80295, right, is the number to get in touch. We'll play some music. This is Aztec Camera, and we'll talk about that next.
Somewhere in the city where the air is still, a baby being born to the overkill. Well, who cares what people say? We walk down love's motorway, a vision of love, wearing boxing gloves and singing hearts and flowers. But somewhere in my heart there is a star that shines for you. Silver splits the
Heart by Aztec Camera. It is just after 10:10 here on BBC Radio Scotland. I hope you're well. Now, when Sophie Ellis-Bextor's Murder on the Dance Floor burst onto the scene in 2001, I remember it well, it went straight to number 2 in the UK charts, quickly becoming a floor filler in parties and clubs around the country. And ever since, it's remained a constant classic on party playlists, that's for sure. But in November, the song experienced a bit of a renaissance after soundtrack 1, particularly gleeful and explicit scene in the psychological thriller Saltburn. It's captured its way back into the minds and the hearts of lots of people, and also the charts 23 years after its initial appearance. And I'm delighted to say, bobbing along to Aztec Camera as well, by the way, is Sophie Ellis-Bextor. Morning.
Morning, yeah, I love that song.
I know, it is a classic, isn't
Good
it?
one.
It is.
Yeah.
Right, what's the last sort of couple of weeks, months been like since this is all sort of kicked off again?
It's been quite a funny mixture because so when Saltburn came out, I was already on UK tour and sort of bobbing along with all the things I already had planned. And then when the song and the film really started to get traction over Christmas and New Year, I was, like lots of people, spending a lot of time in my pajamas, you know, at home with the kids, Christmas, being cozy. So it's really only been this month that I've been able to sort of try and get my head around it a little bit more and really enjoy it. I mean, golly, I'm such good friends with Murder on the Dance Floor. I sing it all the time. It's been a really good friend of mine. I love people's relationship with it. So it's been so extraordinary to have this unexpected new adventure with it, which I wasn't planning at all, but it's so much fun.
You know, when you think about that song and you hear that song, it still seems very modern and relevant. And I actually, it scares the bejesus out of me thinking it's 23 years old. I don't know what it does for you.
I've sort of lost, I don't really have like a massive sense of chronology like that because I think music's clever like that anyway.
Yeah.
You know, like hearing Aztec Camera, to me, that just takes me back to memories of when my brother was just starting to walk and he used to bob around to that. I mean, he's 36 now, but I think that's what's clever about music is it allows you to time travel and it's quite smooth and your brain does it without you thinking about it. So yeah, what's a couple of decades between you and a good song that you like?
This is true. It's music to my ears, let me tell you. When you think about the that moment and that scene in particular, did you know what scene it was going to be used in?
Well, yes. So I had a little synopsis. So I didn't know the whole film, but I just knew exactly how murder would be used. So I knew that it would be someone dancing to the entirety of the song as they walk through the halls of Saltburn, the house, but also that they'd have no clothes on. And I was immediately like, yeah, that sounds like fun. And I knew it was in safe hands because I knew it was written and directed by Emerald Fennell and I'd like to put previous films. So I thought, yeah, that sounds like fun. And I didn't actually think much more of it because I didn't know anything about the rest of the movie or when it was coming out or anything like that.
Whenever you were saying that, you know, that sort of period where it's Christmas, New Year, you're not really thinking too much about it. What was the sort of moment you thought to yourself, oh, wait a minute, your phone started like text coming in, people talking about it again? What was that sort of moment like?
Yeah, it's funny. It's just been like, the whole thing's been pretty glorious and magic. There's been a couple of moments where it's a bit pinch me, actually. I mean, just last night I started getting people messaging me because NASA, so the big like 100 million Instagram account of NASA, referenced Murder on the Dance Floor when talking about the planet Mercury on their Instagram. Like,
that's when you know you've made it, isn't it?
It's just extraordinary, like magic. But then other things are like some of my girlfriends who I know have got no idea what's in the chart anymore and are just, you know, getting on with their own lives. And then they are like, I keep hearing your song. So little moments like that, you're like, okay, this is the real thing. It is kind of outside of, because it's quite hard to be objective. I'm Murder on the Dance Floor's mum. I always have a vague idea of what's happening with it.
But, you know, and that's it's an interesting contrast, right? Because you're getting messages about NASA using your song and being in that, the sort of connection that has for so many people and the amount of people that are listening to it now. And then as you said, so you're Murder on the Dance Floor's mum, but you're also mum to a couple of more people as well. You've got 5 kids. How do you balance this life that you're living right now? And I know you've got the new the podcast as well, Spinning Plates. And and in that, I was listening to a couple of episodes, and it made me laugh. And there's so many parts of it that I resonate with completely. But how do you balance these two worlds and try and do it well?
Well, firstly, thanks for listening to the podcast. That's like my absolute passion project. So I started that 3 years ago now, and it's just speaking to working women who happen to be mothers, because I think as a working parent myself, it took me quite a long time to kind of give myself permission to feel the way I do about work, but also want to be a good parent and try and find that. I think it's an ever evolving thing. I think families evolving, relationships evolve. My relationship with work is the same, but mostly I try and just focus on what's right in front of me and take it week by week. If I start looking at, the diary ahead and that kind of thing, it can make my head spin a little bit. But if I break it down into bits and just make sure I'm trying to be present for what's going on in their lives, but also getting the most out of mine. And actually that has led me to have, I think, the most fun I've had with my work in the last few years. It was like the final piece of the puzzle, I think, is just saying to myself, it's okay to prioritize my work as well, because that's a massive part of who I am. And it makes me a better parent that I get to do that. And I enjoy it so much. So yeah, it's like an eternal thing. That's why the conversations came about. So with all my guests, I'm just fascinated to hear their relationship, how motherhood, changed their relationship with their work. But also sometimes it's just an excuse to talk to like really amazing women. And sometimes I have to remember to drop in a couple of questions about motherhood, because really I'm just fascinated by what they do.
Well, exactly. That's the good thing I get to do with this job as well, is you can ask sort of really interesting questions. Yeah, exactly. But it's great because you're getting all this wisdom from people that you don't necessarily meet every day walking down the street. So you're just like sucking it all in to just add to. I mean, I'm talking about this, obviously asking for a friend as well. I've got a little 1-year-old at home, and it is that balance, of trying to be the best you can be at every point of whatever it is you're doing at that particular time. And I know that you've got the age range between a 1 and a 16-year-old.
It's actually, well, that's what I said in the intro to my podcast, but it's really out of date.
Oh, is it?
So they're actually between 5 and nearly 20. My eldest will be 20 in April, and my youngest just turned 5 this month. So yeah, it is quite a spread, and there's always things happening. But actually, I find a lot of it such a brilliant answer. My job can be really silly, and you're encouraged to think about yourself all the time, because that's the nature of being a solo artist. But obviously when I'm home with my kids or dealing with them, they're the center of the world, and it's all about what's happening with them. And I really like that. And I love the fact that none of them, they all have like an interest in what I'm up to insofar as like it's checking their mum's okay, but none of them are like fans of what I do. Do you know what I mean? They're just getting on with their own world. So it always gives me like a really healthy grounding perspective, sometimes too grounding, quite frankly.
I know. Well, I'm looking at because we've got a Zoom up just now, so I can see sort of you're in your house. You've got lovely sparkly dresses behind you, but please tell me you're in a situation that there's probably like socks and stuff lying about the floor beside you. Not everything's as pristine when you're...
It's not pristine at all. This is a house that's I'm in a constant state of flux, I think. I'm permanently in the middle of a clear out. This room is my dressing room. So these are some of my bits behind me. But it's also my 5-year-old's bedroom. So there's like on the other side of the camera, there's like a little bed and all his books and that kind of thing. So it's half sequins and half, 5-year-old's room. It's probably quite a good summary of what it's like inside my head, to be fair.
It is, and that's it, isn't it? It's about this finding space, and the people that you've interviewed in the podcast. Have you got to a point where you're thinking, right, actually, because as I was saying, it's about trying to take notes down so that you can, in some way, implement all these things into your own life, right? But is there like one person that you've thought, right, this helps me, the advice they've given me or what they do helps me to try and clear a little bit of space to know how to proceed? Because when you've got so many tasks to do, when you've got so many people requiring your love, your care, your attention, as well as not just your kids but also your music, is there one piece that you think, right, well, that's the thing that I need to do to help me with that?
Yeah, and first of all, I think this is the same for any working parent, by the way. I think this is what we all do. So I think that's what I find really great, is that you can think people are, feeling differently about things, but actually so much joins people and brings them together. I get wisdom with every single conversation. And actually some of the best ones have been the ones I did right at the beginning, because I spoke to my mum. I know that sounds like a really, obvious thing, but actually I'd never really spoken to my mum. Just being able to sit down with my mum and talk about how having me, what that was like for her when she was 23 and had all her ambitions and was a young actress and then started presenting, and just hear about that side of things. So it was a really good conversation, and a lot of that really stayed with me. And then, there's just been people all the way along. I've spoken to everybody from, scientists to artists to other singers. It's lovely talking to other singers, like people like Jessie Ware or Roisin Murphy, just hearing how they're balancing things, how they feel about their work. But all of it's encouraged me to give me a bit more permission to try and reduce the guilt, because I think that's, maybe not everybody feels that way, but definitely for me, that's been an unexpected package I was given almost immediately as soon as I had my first baby, of like, and here you go, here's your backpack, and I feel guilty about so many things and second guess a lot of stuff. And actually, as my kids get older as well, I can see now that prioritizing and having a work ethic and enjoying what I do and being passionate will hopefully lead them to have more adventurous, independent lives as well, where they feel it's okay to go out there and get things for themselves and have fun and make all those connections and make those long-lasting friendships and relationships that, have become my support. So hopefully it will trickle down. Yeah,
it's one of my friends said to me, congratulations on your baby, but you'll also never not feel guilty ever again. I'm like, okay, thanks for that.
Get moments where it alleviates. It's just kind of finding the way, and look, everybody's different with it, but I think it's just one of those things. It's like you're always going to have it, particularly if in a job where, like you and me, where it's sort of self-motivated. So we're, any point I could say, actually, I'm going to stay home for a week, and that would be a decision I'm allowed to make. It won't put food on the table, and it'll mean I get a bit miserable. But I think that makes it harder sometimes, because you think, oh, golly, every time I go away for work, this is a decision I've made. But really, I'm doing something I love, and it actually has meant that we've had a lot of adventures as a family. My kids have come to festivals. There's things we do and, experiences we've had together that would not happen if that wasn't part of our lives. So you have to have a bit of perspective, I guess.
Yeah, and balance that, and thinking that you're trying to give different experiences that they might not have had.
Absolutely.
We've I'd love to chat to you all morning, but I do need to wrap it up shortly. But what do you want to do next? And I know obviously you've got the podcasts. What's the sort of next part? What does it look like? Or is it a case of actually you're just enjoying where you are right now?
So there's lots of lovely things, actually. I'm about to go on tour in Europe. That's in March, and I'm in the middle of writing a new album. So I've got new music and just actually feeling really good. I mean, look, momentum is a very good friend to what I do. So everything that's happened with Murder has made me feel like a bit more of a spring in my step about all the new music I'm making. So I'm just actually trying to really just take it in, because it's quite extraordinary, really. And that's one of the things I've always loved about my work, is that you never know what's around the corner. So you've just got to run with it, really.
Well, what I can tell you is around the corner is you're going to be at the Bella Drum Festival 25th to 27th of July. You're supporting the Human League as well on their Generations Tour in Glasgow at the Hydro on the 12th of December as well. And you're doing a collaboration with Nile Rodgers as well, and Chic.
I'm supporting him,
supporting
a UK tour in July.
Fabulous. So we'll look forward to that, and we'll look out for when you're next in Scotland. Sophie, so lovely to meet you and so lovely to speak to you. Thanks for coming on this morning.
You too. What a lovely conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I think it's only fair that your firstborn gets a little run out. So this is Murder on the Dance Floor, and this is Sophie Ellis-Bextor. Speak to you soon.
Alright, stop what you're doing, cause I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you're used to. I look funny, but yo, I'm making money, see? So yo, world, I hope you're ready for me. Now gather round. I'm the new fool in town, and my sound's laid down by the underground. I drink a bottle of Hennessy you got on your shelf, so just let me introduce myself. My name is Humpty, pronounced with the umpty. Yo, ladies, oh, how I like to funk thee. And all the rappers in the top 10, please allow me to bump thee. I'm stepping tall, y'all, and just like Humpty Dumpty, you're gonna fall when the stereos pump me. I like to rhyme, I like my beats funky, I'm spunky. I like my oatmeal lumpy, I'm sick with this. Straight gangster Mac.
but sometimes I get ridiculous. I'll eat up all your crackers and your licorice. Oh, yo, fat girl, come here, are you ticklish? Yeah, I called you fat. Look at me, I'm skinny. It never stopped me from getting busy. I'm a freak. I like the girls with the boom. I once got busy in a Burger King bathroom. I'm crazy. Allow me to amaze thee. They say I'm ugly, but it just don't faze me. I'm still getting in the girls' pants, and I even got my own dance.
The Humpty Dance is your chance to do the hump.
Come on, do the Humpty Hump. Come on, do the Humpty Hump. Check me out, y'all. I do the Humpty Hump. Just watch me do the Humpty Hump. Yeah, do you know what I'm doing? Doing the Humpty Hump. Come on, I do the Humpty Hump. I do the Humpty Hump. People say, yo, Humpty, you're really funny looking. That's alright, cause I get things cooking. You stare, you glare, you constantly try to compare me, but you can't get near me. I'm giving more C, and on the floor B, all the girls, they adore me. Oh yes, ladies, I'm really being sincere, cause in the 69, my Humpty nose will tickle your rear. My nose is big. I'm not ashamed, big like a pickle. I'm still getting paid, I get laid by the ladies. You know I'm in charge, both how I'm living and my nose is large. I get stupid, I shoot an arrow like Cupid. I'll use a word that don't mean nothing, like Luke did. I sang on Do What You Like, and if you missed it, I'm the one who said just grab them in the biscuits. Also told you that I like to bite. Well yeah, I guess it's obvious I also like to write. All you had to do was give Humpty a chance, and now I'm gonna do my dance.
The Humpty Dance is your chance to do the hump.
Come on, yeah, sexy lady.
Do the Humpty
Come
Hump.
on, I'll do the Humpty Hump. Sexy baby, everybody, come on and do the Humpty Hump. Oh, do you know what we're doing? We're doing the Humpty Hump, y'all. I'll do the Humpty Hump. Watch me do the Humpty Hump. Yeah, that's the break, y'all. Let me that bass groove right here. Yeah. Now that I told y'all a little bit about myself, let me tell you a little bit about this dance. It's real easy to do. Check it out. First I limped to the side like my leg was broken, shaking and twitching, kinda like I was smoking. Crazy, whack, funky. People say you look like MC Hammer on crack, Humpty. That's alright, cause my body's in motion. It's supposed to look like a fit or a convulsion. Anyone can play this game. This is my dance, y'all. Humpty Hump's my name. No two people will do it the same. You got it down when you appear to be in pain. Humping, funkin', jumping, gig around, shaking your rump. And when a doodle chump punk points a finger like a stunt, tell him step off, I'm doing the hump.
The Humpty Dance is your chance to do the hump.
Everybody, I do the Humpty Hump. Come on and do the Humpty Hump. Sexy lady, I do the Humpty Hump. I do the Humpty Hump. I'm doing the Humpty Hump. We're doing the Humpty Hump, y'all. Watch me do the Humpty Hump. I do the Humpty Hump. Check it out, black people. I do the Humpty Hump. I do the Humpty Hump. Come on, white people. I do the Humpty Hump. I do the Humpty Hump. Puerto Ricans, I do the Humpty Hump. Just keep on doing the hump. Samoans, do the Humpty Hump. Do the Humpty Hump. Yeah. Let's get stupid. I do the Humpty Hump. I do the Humpty Hump. Everybody do the Humpty Hump. Do the Humpty Hump. Give me the middle break. I'm on to do the Humpty Hump. Give me the middle break. Do you know we're doing the Humpty Hump? Yeah. Gonna break it down. Yeah, sexy lady. Once again, the underground is in the house. I'd like to send a shout out to the whole world. Keep on doing the Humpty Dance. And to all the ladies, peace and humpiness forever.
It's Connie McLaughlin with you on BBC Radio Scotland until midday today. Still to come this morning, our travel expert Simon Calder will be back to answer all of your questions, whether you're seeking compensation after a flight delay or maybe you're on the hunt for a last minute getaway. You can get in touch 80295 or give them a call 08285 92 95 00. And
I'm absolutely fine now, but I know that I cannot do the job again and again and again and again.
that was Jurgen Klopp deciding to leave Liverpool. I was talking about, I guess, how it felt for him, but how did it feel for the fans? A lot of them were devastated, by the way. So we were talking this morning in the office about these relationships that we form in our minds with people that we don't actually know, right? Apparently they're called parasocial relationships. And we want to hear the celebrities that you want to be pals with. So give me a text on this. 80295 is the best way to do it.
Got something to say? Text 80295. Standard message rates apply.
Mornings on BBC Radio Scotland.
Rona's been on to say, by the way, that sorry if this sounds weird, but mine is Kay Adams. Oh, if only Kay was here to hear that, I'll pass it on to her. But I think that is nice, isn't it? That's exactly it. Someone that you hear every day, someone that you maybe see on the TV or you look at on social media and you think you feel as if you know that person, so you feel as if you've got that like connection with them. 80295. Keep them coming in for me this morning. Right, okay. Maybe it's Simon Calder. I don't know. Maybe he's your parasocial friend. Where are you this morning, Simon Calder?
I've just calculated I am 5,200 miles from Glasgow, pretty much exactly, which means, of course, that I'm 100 miles south of Panama City, somewhere adrift in the Pacific Ocean, but on a perfectly comfortable ship. So, which obviously where the connectivity seems to be working okay. So I'm keeping everything crossed for the next hour or so.
Fingers crossed. Right. What are you doing where you are? Just quickly.
Okay, well, I'm on a ship. I am what is very, very loosely termed guest entertainer. So poor passengers, I know that you are thinking, and I'm trying to do exactly the same as I do with you, Connie, which is just to try to inspire people to make the most of the fantastic opportunities we have to travel, while at the same time, of course, watching out for all the things that could go wrong, which today in England and with some impact in Scotland means yet more industrial action on the trains, which is going to be continuing for another 9 days. So stay in Scotland is quite possibly the best advice if you are thinking of travelling by rail.
Although there's some issues with the trains if you're in Edinburgh today as well. So I think for the next couple of days as well, as there's some engineering works happening there. So it might not be as easy if you're here either, by the way. But what about the airports? I know we've spoken about this before, actually, this 100 mil liquid rule. It's going to be banished from UK airports. Is it actually happening? And when's it going to happen? When do people need to think about it?
Well, I've actually been going through my files, Connie, and it's going to happen in 2016. That was one of the targets set.
Right.
As you might have noticed, it didn't happen. Then the government said it was going to happen in 2020. That was Boris Johnson's government. It must have been the one thing that didn't actually turn out to be quite correct. That didn't happen. Finally, the government said it's got to be ready by June 2024. That means all the major airports in Scotland, and obviously Highlands and Islands airports are a little bit different because you can't invest millions of pounds in scanning equipment in some of the smaller Scottish islands, but Aberdeen, Glasgow, Inverness, Edinburgh, all expected to have these super duper high quality scanners. They're very similar to MRI scanners that you get in hospitals and basically do the same job. So your belongings go through it. People get a really good 3-dimensional view of what's inside your bag, which means you don't need to get your laptop out. You don't need to worry about all those liquids. You can have up to sort of 2 litres of liquids, which I think would cover most of us in our cabin baggage, and it makes life much easier. But yes, as you say, things are running behind, particularly for the biggest English airports, so Manchester, Heathrow, Gatwick, they are slightly behind, partly because of the immense cost, and then partly also because these machines are so huge that there's a bit of floor strengthening going on to carry them. Whatever happens, and whenever they finally get installed, we are then going to move to a situation where it might be that at Edinburgh Airport you can go through with your laptop and your liquids and you don't worry, and you think, well, I'll do the same on the way back, and I'll bring back a bottle of that interesting Spanish brandy that I've been drinking in the resort. Unfortunately, you cannot make any guarantees that the rules are going to be the same when you're coming back to Scotland as they were when you went out. So always err on the side of caution, I'm afraid.
Okay, right, we'll keep an eye on that one. Right, Simon is going to be back for the full surgery, we hope, because he is, as he said, on a ship somewhere close to Panama right now. Of course, where else would you be? He'll be back after 11 o'clock. Whatever your holiday or travel question is, you can get them in now. Give us a call, 085 92 95 00, or you can send a text on 80295.
Get in touch with BBC Radio Scotland.
You can call our free phone number on 08085 92 95 00.
You can text on 80295. Network charges apply.
Mornings on BBC Radio Scotland.
Right, if you are a fan of The Traitors, but you somehow haven't caught up on Friday's final, you can pause us on, go back on BBC Sound, right? Listen to us when you finish watching. Maybe you go back on the iPlayer and then come back to us here, right? Because have a listen to this.